morning. I'm not sure what happened. Well, I'll tell you what happened. I'm not sure why it happened. I was about to go live and then my image disappeared. And then it said there's no camera connected. So I just rebooted the whole system. I don't know what that's about, but it's all good. We're here now. Looks like it's working. I see comments popping up. So there we go. What's up, Tim? I appreciate you checking in. All right, so we're live. All right, so welcome to the Be Your Own Hero show. This is, what day is today? This is the 27th of April. And I'm not sure what episode this is of the Be Your Own Hero show, but we're in the 80s. We're in the 80s of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reach optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative, which means I do a number of different things. And I'm the creator of the Hero Ministry Movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire people in general and the unhoused community in specific. Thanks, Linda. I appreciate that. I didn't know what was going on. Everything went black, but we're here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump into the run report for the Sekou Hero Charity Run. The run report for the Sekou Hero Charity Run. I'm going to play that, and I'm just going to, while that's playing, I'm just going to check all the backstage stuff, make sure everything's working okay. So here we go. This is my run report from earlier today, and I'll be right back with you in a second. Here we go.
Run streak day 331. Woo. So I've been running every day, at least a mile a day for now 331 days in a row. I'm currently raising money for Brown Boys Read. The link is in the bio to donate. Please donate. Please share. Help me reach my goal. Most of the charity runs, they call it fundraisers. Most of the fundraisers close their funds out on the day of the race. So I'm a little late. So please help me close out my GoFundMe for Brown Boys Read. I ran for Brown Boys Read on Saturday in the Nashville Half Marathon. Okay, that said, as you could probably tell, I'm tired. I'm tired. Man, so I'm still sticking to my plan to stay on 12-minute miles as close as I can. I was a little fast today, about 15 seconds too fast today. The reason I'm doing this, though, is because on half marathon day, all kinds of things went sideways, and I ended up walking a lot. And I still hit my time, but if I hadn't walked, I could have done better than the time that I was aiming for. So what I'm doing is developing a break in case of emergency internal protocol that we know that if everything goes sideways, we can still maintain a quote unquote run pace that's just above a walk. It's basically the posture of running, just one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And so what I found is that if I just basically stick my wrists to my rib cage and don't swing my arms, that enables me to get my pace down to about 12, which speaks to the importance of your arms. Because as soon as I start swinging my arms, my pace goes up. So that's great for me to know for future. I could just stop swinging my arms and kind of bring myself all the way down. And then as I recuperate, start swinging my arms again, and my body will follow. So that's good intel for me. Hope it's good intel for you. Also, some people have gotten interested in my little experiments with technology. So this is what I'm doing. Here's my new thing. So I got the watch. I got the Garmin watch. This is the Garmin Forerunner 45. It does not appear to talk. I say it that way because I don't know. I haven't done a deep dive, but it doesn't appear to talk at first glance. This was a challenge for me on race day because I'm used to hearing the Strava app in my ears telling me, all right, you've done another half mile. This is your current pace. This is your split pace. I'm used to hearing that information without having to look, right? It's also encouraging. It's another half mile down, another half mile down, another half mile down, right? It's helpful. Well, I didn't have that on race day. I only had my watch. And so all I could do was just look at my watch, which also was, first of all, new muscle memory, right? Looking at my watch while I'm running. And then I found I looked at my watch way too often. So in between, I looked at it like 5 times before I got to the next half mile. And that's kind of demoralizing. You'd rather just be like, okay, I hear it. I got to another half mile. So long story short, what I'm doing, what I've been experimenting with today and yesterday is looking at my watch, right? Setting my watch for the timer, but also turning on the Strava app in my earphones. And then when the route completes for the Strava app, I just discard the activity. I don't record it on the Strava app. I let it record from the watch. I let the watch sync to Strava. But I can still hear the tones of the auditory information, half mile, pace, etc., which is really helpful because that means I look at my watch less. So I'm going to keep experimenting with that and my emergency 12-minute mile pace. All right. Check me out on the show, the Be Your Own Hero Show. Please donate to Brown Boys Read. Link is in the bio. Later.
Okay, so if you've watched the show before, you know that watching these run reports, even though I just recorded them, are new to me. I'm like, what did I say? So I was just watching it just now. At first, I was checking to make sure everything's okay, and there's still some errors I'm experiencing, but I think we'll make it through the show. And then I was like, what did I say? And this is what occurred to me. So Reverend Mel would call this a download. The download that I got while watching it is that everything I was saying, I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix my hair, but everything that I was saying about running applies to life, right? Like, how often do we set up an in case of emergency plan for whatever it is that we're working on in life? Not that often, right? Most of us haven't even set up the in case of emergency contact on our phone. They tell you to do that, right? Have if you haven't heard this before, when you get a cell phone, smartphone, they tell you to put in ICE as a contact. And in that contact list all the people who anyone would need to contact in case something happens to you and they find your phone. But have any of us done that? Not many of us, right? And also, we also haven't created emergency protocols for whatever it is that we're experiencing in life. Like, you know, what are the things that I'm going to do in case this situation doesn't work out in order to carry me through? We don't really do that. And certainly I hadn't done that in all these days. Today's day 331. So up until the 330s of my run streak, running every single consecutive day, I hadn't even thought of making an emergency protocol to get me through in case things went sideways. And they definitely went sideways on Saturday. So that said, I'm encouraging all of us to think that through, to think about the putting in place a plan to carry you through in case whatever it is that you're focusing your attention on right now doesn't work out. What's your in case of emergency? What's the way to approach it that's still going to get you close to the results you want? Yeah, so I'm going to keep working with that. But that's what occurred to me as I was watching my own run report just now. Anyway, shout out to the other people that have checked in. I appreciate you. And sorry for the technical difficulties, but we're rolling on. Oh, speaking of which, I'm going to be looking at my phone a lot because usually I have my notes on the computer, but that's not working today. All right, so moving on to the Dice Roll Challenge. The Dice Roll Challenge. All right, here we go. Rolling the dice on, what is this, Wednesday? On Wednesday, number is 2. So for the week thus far, we've got Monday 2, Tuesday 3, and Wednesday 2, right? $7 so far. Easy money. That's not even a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Easy money. We're moving that money. We're taking that money out of circulation and moving it into a place that we can use to invest, whether that's a different account at your bank, whether that's a money jar, whether that's an envelope. It doesn't really matter. The idea is to take it out of circulation and earmark it for investing only. Don't go blow it on shoes or something else. This money is for investing. Why? Because investing is essential if you're trying to change your financial life. Which reminds me, I've skipped a bunch of things that I usually say thus far, but that's because I'm not on my notes. So anyway, this show has become a show that offers financial tips for artists and retirees. And I think for those two groups, it's critically important to set aside money, because for those two groups, we often don't feel like we can set aside money. We feel like there's not enough left over to set aside money. You've got to do it anyway. And in the doing, you will find, because I have found, that you can make do with less. Like if you take the money out immediately, so let's say you get $10 today and you take whatever it is for you. Say you take 10% out immediately and put it into your money jar. You'll find that you won't miss it. If you take it out immediately, you won't miss it. And then that gives you the confidence to continue taking the money out, taking the money out, taking the money out. But until you start, you won't have the experience of gaining that confidence. And gaining the confidence is important. Okay. All right. I'm all over the place today. This is like a free flow Wednesday, but it's all good. So that was the dice roll challenge. The number for today is 2. So far, we're at $7 for the week. Morning Zen. So I am just simply going to say, once again, we've been reading the original 7-Day Mental Diet, not to be confused with the Amazon Prime 7-Day Mental Diet, which is different entirely. I guess I shouldn't say entirely, but which is very different than the book. And the information in here, well, there is some information in here that's not in the Amazon version and vice versa. So right now we're reading this version, the original by Dr. Emmett Fox. This little pamphlet, clearly it must have been an article in the beginning. So it's a little pamphlet. You can get it on Amazon for like $5. Or you can use your points. We talked about points. You can use your Amazon points to get it. Anyway, we talked about the fact that you're not going to avoid having negative thoughts, but you want to think of them as embers, like embers from a flame landing on your sleeve, and you're just going to knock them off and knock them off and knock them off. Let's just keep that going all day today, all week this week, because if you've been doing it, you have discovered with me that it's challenging. Let me rephrase that. It requires willpower. It requires specific, concentrated willpower, because we tend to let ourselves go for the small indignities. We tend to let ourselves go if we get annoyed about somebody cutting us off in traffic or taking too long at a restaurant. We let our annoyance about those things go, but they add up to the storehouse of negativity within us. So knock them off your sleeve, knock them off your sleeve, knock them off your sleeve. That's still the homework. And keep track of it. Keep track of it. Keep track of how many times in a day you have some form of negative thought. Okay, moving on. That's Morning Zen. Abundance. Yeah, we're on schedule. We're on it. Abundance. Let's do the affirmation a couple times, and then let's talk about wealth and abundance and prosperity. Okay, so here is our affirmation. This is the one that we want to get into our subconscious bones, so to speak. So here we go. Here's the first time. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. So that's just so you get the words. Here's the second time with feeling so that your subconscious can hear it. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every single area of my life. Yep, I added a word because I was feeling it. You should be feeling it too, because the whole point of turning it from an affirmation into an incantation is to get your internal system to believe it, to basically to put it inside of your belief box, which we'll be talking about a bit today, the belief box. I'm going back to the belief box. In the meantime, there's a couple other things I wanted to say. So let me give a couple money notes before I get into the meat of what I want to say. So here's my usual reminder. If you only spend, you'll stay poor. So be aware of spending and be aware of saving, because if you only save, you're going to stay middle class. In order to change your financial circumstances, investing is key. It's not optional. It is mandatory to invest, which is why we're doing the Dice Roll Challenge, to give you the opportunity to invest. Now, don't complain about your financial circumstances not changing, but you're still not investing. Or I was about to say still saving and spending, because many of us have a knee jerk of trying to save money, right? And here I go off on another tangent. But here, so we have the knee jerk to save money, right? But what I learned from the book, The 1 Minute Millionaire, which is worth checking out, is that it doesn't work if you just save money. You haven't changed your financial circumstances. You can prove that to yourself. How long have you been saving money? Have your financial circumstances changed, right? So it's not enough to just save. Like if you save some money, then what you need to do to change your financial circumstances is to take the difference that you saved and go put that in an investment. And for the purposes of the show, that's the stock market. But take the money. So if you're spending $5 on something and you see a way to spend $2, you got a coupon, right? You need to take that $3 and put it into the stock market. Like otherwise, you haven't really gained anything. You feel better, but you haven't gained anything. Okay, so that's my sidebar about the 1 Minute Millionaire. It's worth reading. All right, back to the lecture hand. So yesterday, I was recapping some of the things we talked about last week, and I was talking about my new analogy that I like a lot as Sam's Club as the stock market. And Linda put a comment in the chat yesterday that I saw after the show that I want to talk about. So, yeah, so it's not exact, right? Obviously, the stock market is not exactly Sam's Club. But what Linda put in the chat yesterday was that the prices don't fluctuate at Sam's. And I thought about that, and then I realized they kind of do, though. They kind of do. So think about it now. Think about it. Sam's is a consumer goods store, right? So as we have learned on this show, the cost of consumer goods go up. That's just inflation. Gradually, steadily, the cost of consumer goods goes up and the value of the dollar goes down constantly, without fail. Everything is quote unquote adjusted for inflation, right? You're always hearing about, well, adjusted for inflation, this price would be. It is a constant, right? So the cost of goods are constantly going up, which means the people who are making the goods are charging Sam's a little more. Sam's is inching their prices up a couple cents per whatever to adjust for inflation. And also the value of your dollars that you're spending in Sam's is going down. This is guaranteed. This is guaranteed. And I never thought about it that way until your comment, Linda, so I appreciate it. But you're losing money over the long term. You're spending more and more for goods with a dollar that's more and more watered down. So you're getting less and less for the money that you spend in Sam's. Now, when you put it that way, which is more dangerous, Sam's or the stock market? Ooh, right? Because in the stock market, we've learned together, there are many instruments within the stock market that do very well. So let's just talk about the S&P 500 for a second. I've talked about that one a lot. So the S&P 500, just to recap, the number 500 refers to the fact that there are 500 companies in this fund. Let's think of it as a bowl. So in this bowl, there's 500 companies. First of all, that's a lot of companies. Second of all of the companies, all 500 of them have a market cap of at least $10 billion, each of them, right? And so you can buy a little piece of all 500 companies by buying a share of the S&P 500. So time after time, year after year, over the long term, the S&P 500 has returned about 7 to 10% per year. Now, that's a small number until you think about it in terms of interest. Like, where are you getting 7 to 10%? Right? Where? Like, that is a big number. And so, yes, it's true that there are some years when it's down because of whatever is going on in the environment, whatever's going on in the political world, the S&P 500 goes down. But there are other years where it goes up. And so the point is that over time, over the long term, it has been averaged out to 7 to 10% up, right? So if you put your money in there and you just let it stay, long term. So for me, I'm thinking about it as not even my money. I'm thinking about it as money for kids, money for grandkids. You know, I'm just going to pass it along, pass on this portfolio of worth, of net worth along and along and along with the instructions to not sell it. That's the way I'm thinking about it. I'm not even thinking about it as something liquid that I will trade in and out of. It's just a store of value that appreciates. So it goes up and up and up versus spending money in Sam's that goes down and down and down, right? The cost of goods goes up at Sam's, but your money at Sam's buys less. That's a fascinating thing to think about. Because when you think about it that way, you realize how what's the right word? How aggressively the world around us is trying to take our money. Right? You got to have a plan. You got to do something to fight back. All right. So anyway, I need to say some other things before I close out. So, see, I don't have all my electronic stuff together. Okay, so I was going to read this story from Psycho-Cybernetics. I don't have it up though, so I'm just going to have to paraphrase. So I'm shifting gears a little bit. So there's this story in Psycho-Cybernetics. By the way, Psycho-Cybernetics is a book that was written by a plastic surgeon. And let's just start with that. It was written by a plastic surgeon. He discovered that when he performed operations on people that they asked for, there was a certain group of people who would come back to him and say that he hadn't done anything. That was my alarm. I hope you couldn't hear that. There's a certain number. I forget what the percentage is, but let's just say 10% of the people would come back to him and say, "Hey, you didn't change anything." And this shocked him because he's like, "What are you talking about? I performed plastic surgery. Your nose is entirely different. Here's your before picture. Here's your after picture." And they would look at the before picture and after picture and say, "Yeah, see, there's no change." This fascinated him. So much so that he created this book. He wrote this book called Psycho-Cybernetics that is essentially about the self-image. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it more because I don't think I have time to say everything that I want to say. But here is the synthesis, the thesis. If you want to achieve something, it has to be within what I call your belief box in order to be achievable for you. So Dr. Maltz, the man who wrote Psycho-Cybernetics, calls that self-image. Like if it's not within your self-image, if you can't see yourself as someone who attains this goal, then you will never be able to achieve it. And this is not about the conscious mind. Like we can all say, "Yeah, I can achieve that." No. It's not about the 10% of your mind. This is about the 90% of your subconscious mind. If the 90% does not believe you to be capable of achieving that thing, you will never achieve that thing. That's what that is. And I call this the belief box, right? If your goal won't fit inside your belief box, your subconscious belief box, then you can't achieve that goal. Which brings us all the way back to the half marathon. So it's becoming, I hope, more and more clear what I'm saying, because I've gotten some comments back about the half marathon. People are like, "You need to be grateful for what you did." Like, no, don't miss the point. I'm very grateful for my time, and I'm even more grateful for the lesson. But here's the lesson. The lesson is I had to set a specific goal. When I showed up for half marathon training, I did that. I set a specific goal of 2:15. I trained for 2:15, so much so that became a part of my belief box. It could fit in my belief box over time. Not at first, but over time, I got it to where it could fit in my belief box. I believed, yeah, I can do 2:15. Meanwhile, I wished for 2 hours even, right? I wished for that, but it wasn't in my belief box. I didn't believe it. I didn't train for it. I didn't prepare my subconscious for it, right? And so what I'm saying is, on race day, when I was on track to blow my 2 hours and 15 minutes out of the water, the universe conspired to give me exactly what I asked for, exactly what I prepared for, exactly what fits inside my belief box, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now, I keep talking about it because the chat is real quiet. The chat is real quiet. And so I know you're thinking this is really woo-woo. No. There are several examples from psycho-cybernetics that express the same thing. So I'm just going to tell one really quick one before I run out of time. So there was a salesman that's talked about in psycho-cybernetics. Every year he hit $5,000 a year. Every year. So they were like, all right, that's pretty good. Let's move him up to a bigger territory with more opportunities. What did he hit? 5,000. They demoted him again. They put him in a terrible territory. What did he hit? $5,000. Every year. And so they studied him and they found that he would work really hard when he had to hit his 5,000. And when he hit his 5,000 easily, things would happen. He would get sick. He'd hurt himself. Something would happen out there in the world that would, quote unquote, prevent him from going past his 5,000. The bottom line was his belief box, his self-image was attached to the idea that he was a $5,000 a year kind of guy. That's it. And then the universe conspired to make that true. So it all comes down to your belief box. It doesn't matter what you want. Can what you want fit inside what you believe you can have? Right? So I've said this a couple times this week. I'm going to say it again. Prepare for what you actually want, not for what you think you can get. Prepare for what you actually want, not for what you think you can get. All right. So that's it. It's time for prayer time right now. And then after that, it's time for Sit with Rev Melissa. Rev Melissa's going to be producing herself today. I've got a conflicting Zoom. So I see there's a couple comments. I'll check the comments later. But remember your homework. Keep inventory of all your negative thoughts throughout the day and just knock them off your sleeve. And figure out what you actually want. What you actually want, not what you're prepared to accept. All right. So that said, I will see you tomorrow. Until then, keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own financial hero. And remember that now is better than perfect in terms of investing. Later.